One of the most divisive figures in modern British politics is now the country's 77th Prime Minister. To the sound of applause and nearby protests, Boris Johnson promised to unite a fractured country and deliver on his defining pledge to lead Britain out of the EU.
We're going to fulfil the repeated promises of Parliament to the people and come out of the EU on October the 31st. No ifs or buts. And to all those who continue to prophesy disaster, I say yes, there will be difficulties, though I believe that with energy and application they will be far less serious than some have claimed.
There was a distinct lack of details and strategy in the speech, but no shortage of ambition and optimism. Johnson is going to be a very different style of leader. This is how the formal handover of power began, with a journey to Buckingham Palace to meet Queen Elizabeth, a journey interrupted momentarily by protesters. This is the pageantry of British politics, the choreography of change. Queen Elizabeth has to, at all times, remain rigorously impartial when it comes to politics. But as head of state, she has a vital role in inviting the next Prime Minister to form a government. Queen Elizabeth's seen many Prime Ministers come and go during her reign. Winston Churchill, Margaret Thatcher, and now Boris Johnson. His place in British history is still being written. Earlier, the outgoing Prime Minister, Theresa May, also met the Queen to formally tender her resignation. In her final Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday, she was asked whether she was happy to hand over responsibility to a man she refused to back as leader, a man the opposition Labour leader described as reckless. This is how May responded.
I am pleased to hand over to an incoming leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister, who I worked with when he was in my cabinet, who is committed as a Conservative who stood on a Conservative manifesto in 2017 to delivering on the vote of the British people in 2016 and to delivering a bright future for this country.
As Boris Johnson enters his new home and greets his new staff, he also immediately faces some of the gravest matters of state. He'll be briefed on national security and will have to write letters of last resort to nuclear submarine crews with instructions of what to do if the government is wiped out.
People either love him or they hate him, and I think that's true with world leaders, with his counterparts as Foreign Secretary. He's got this comedic element about him, which is highly unusual. He's used to brilliant effect, but we will see very soon whether from sort of beneath this cocoon of bluster, a statesman is actually waiting to emerge.
Boris Johnson once said there was more chance of finding Elvis on Mars than him becoming Prime Minister. His sheer force of personality has brought him here, and now the weight of serious responsibility dawns. Niamh Barker, Al Jazeera, Westminster.